Hello and welcome to this Swift programming video. My name's David Thorne. In this video we're going to be talking all about how to check if a path is a directory using the file manager. Now if you've seen the previous videos then you should have seen this before. Alright, if you haven't then don't worry about it. We're going to talk about exactly how you can then work out if this one file, this path, is actually a directory. And if it isn't, then you can work out whether it's a regular file or not. So right here you can see that we've got, this is where the actual project is, YT FileManager 01. And in the outer folder we can see files, and it's got another directory in here called other directory and a file of file.txt. And this is then the correct path to it if I remove the 1. So by doing this, we first of all need to use import foundation, all right? And FileManager lives inside a foundation, and there is the default, you use the default shared instance of it, right? But now in order to check to see whether or not this is a directory, we first of all have to check the existence of that one file itself, right? I know we're calling it a directory. I know it's a directory, but everything on a Unix system is a file by default anyway, but it's what type of file they are, whether or not it is a directory or whether it is just a standard regular file. Obviously a regular file contains content, byte information, but a directory just contains a list of its own directory entries like inode and stuff like that. So it's important that we understand we're checking the file exists first of all, and here we are saying the parent directory, so we want to know whether or not this parent directory is actually a directory. Now when we do this we can say whether or not the file exists first of all, and when you run this you'll see the file does exist, but that doesn't necessarily mean to say that it is a directory. It's just saying, hey, this path exists. And this is what you need to start thinking about, is that does this path exist on the file system? And here is yes. So path exists is that when it says file exists, it's more does this path exist? Now to be able to understand whether or not this is a directory or whether it is a regular file, or sorry, be able to work out whether it's not a directory, is better to say. It is either a directory or it isn't a directory. We then have to use this unsafe mutable pointer, or with the type parameter of Objective-C Boolean. Now don't be scared about this, right? We just need to say a variable here, and we're going to pass an in-out property to this, all right? When we look at the documentation to this, let's just do this first, and then we can have a look at the documentation to it, and do false, and we come here. You can see that this is an unsafe mutable pointer, but by doing the ampersand we're converting it to a in-out type parameter basically, so you don't have to worry about it too much, right? So now when we do this is a directory, so we can check to see in here whether or not the path exists, which we know already, and then we can say is a directory, and in here we can say if is dir, so is dir, and then Boolean value, we have to convert it to a Boolean value, and we can do this, and we can now see true. So if we go ahead and change the path that we're going to read to a file instead, you can see the file 1 doesn't exist. So let's just change this again. You can see parent path exists is a directory is then false, because obviously this isn't a directory, it is just a regular file. So now let's just go ahead and test to see whether this other directory is also a directory, which it is obviously. So we can just test this now and see here path exists and is a directory. So this is a simple way of how you can check to see whether or not a directory entry, I want to say this is better to say, so we've got files, right, and then they have a descriptor, right, and they predominantly are a inode, have like some form of inode number on the system, okay, and then that has then a type which is either then a file or then a directory, right? A file contains bytes of data or no data, Okay, but then a directory contains other files, okay, and they are basically directory entries in themselves, so that it contains a list of inodes. It keeps account of what type of what inodes it has within inside of that one directory. It cannot actually contain bytes of data that you can read. It only contains the information about which directories they have. Okay, so a file doesn't know its location. All right, a directory knows which entries it has in it, and a directory knows where. Yeah, so this is what you've got to get your head round to this. Now, another way of doing this, rather than writing this code every single time, would be then to make an extension on FileManager, and then just say is directory, for example, at path, and then just do boolean here, and we just copy this into here, and we just return false here, and then just return here, and is directory here. Boolean value. Obviously, if the file doesn't exist, well, it's definitely not a directory, all right? And if it does exist, then we want to know if this is true or not. And if this is true, then you know that it is a directory, all right? So we can now run this and say manager is directory at and parent directory. And when we run this now, you can see that it is true, and when we run it on the file, you can see that it is and we need to change that to there. And when we run this now, you'll see that it comes out as false, all right? And when we do a file that doesn't exist, it still comes out as false, because a file that doesn't exist is definitely not a directory, all right? So with that said, I hope that you got something out of this one video. You can see how super simple it is to write an extension. I would always just pop all of these extensions into your own project extensions folder for Foundation, or to extend Foundation, and so on, so you don't have to write all of this code all of the time. It's write one, or learn once, write once, and yeah, use your own files in the future. With that said, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and do all of the other social media things that you can possibly do to this one video. I just want to highlight to you that I'd normally make like batch videos at one time on the same day. So if you look at the date all the time, you'll predominantly see that they will all be made on pretty much the same day, and then I release them at 12 o'clock every single day. Because of all your support, etc., YouTube has now provided me with memberships, and what I've decided is that for people that want to see all of the videos instantly when I upload them, I've decided that the basic membership will allow you don't have to wait for the videos. So when I do create a batch of videos, you'll have access to them as soon as I've uploaded them, which I think seems a lot more fair, rather than me having to comment and say there's a video coming in 6 days time. You can binge watch all those videos, and I can actually reference those other videos directly and say, hey, this is coming when I know I'm making them. So it's your choice if you want to become a member. It's a small amount of money. That's your choice. Otherwise, you can just be patient and wait. And if it's like 6 months later, the videos are there anyway. So other than that, if you've got any questions, feedback, or concerns, then obviously feel free to write a comment in the comment section down below. Another advantage, obviously, doing the membership is that you can write to me, and it will give me an idea, and I can think, oh, well, okay, I can make another video about that. And other people might wait like 10-15 days or something for that video to come out, but you'll get it literally instantaneously as soon as I've uploaded it and pressed it should be public to all members. So thank you very much for watching. My name's David Thorne. I will see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao, and goodbye.